All right, go.
10, 5, 4, 3.
That's tomorrow, and that is it.
10, 5, 4, 3.
That's tomorrow, and that is it for us today. And we will leave you with a... Can't do it. We'll do it live.
Okay.
We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it, and we'll do it live. Fucking thing sucks.
10, 5, 4, 3.
That's tomorrow, and that is it for us today. I'm Bill O'Reilly. Thanks again for watching. We'll leave you with Sting and a cut off his new album. Take it away.
Hey, what's going on? It's your man Julito McCullum from HBO's The Wire. Some people say it's the greatest TV show ever, but you are watching Fireside Chats with the homie Big Chief Burrito.
Oh, hey Rick, you seen that show that's on social media? There's a lot of shows on social media, Morty. You're gonna have to narrow it down. 2 a.m. burrito. Oh yeah, I do like a burrito at 2 a.m. Morty. It's a show. You should watch it.
Thank you. And it's important for us to focus on the groups of people so they can share their stories. This award goes to a director, producer, and writer who has demonstrated excellence in this category. He is advancing and supporting the industry in our city through all ways, advocating for diversity on and off screen. Please welcome to the stage, ladies and gentlemen, Luis Martinez.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you. 2 a.m. burrito in the house.
Fireside Chats.
What is up, everybody? It is your boy Lou Martinez, aka Big Chief Burrito, live with you on a Wednesday. Fireside Chats with Big Chief Burrito, part of the 2 a.m. Burrito Network. Thanks for everybody that's joining us. Thank you for everybody that's listening. Haven't done a Fireside Chats in a while. We've been focusing on Mi Gente Show, our sister podcast. But Sophia can't make it today. So we're doing a show that I wanted to do for a while, which is Podding with Podcasters. Through Twitter and social media, mostly Twitter, I've been able to connect with, and through Reddit, with a lot of cool people, podcasters, both locally and all over the world. They've invited me to be on their shows. They've been on my shows, and it is really cool what kind of podcasting community you can find on Twitter and across social media if you're looking for it. And I wanted to get some of these people together who I've guested on their show and who've been on my show to help promote their shows, number one. Number two, to talk some of the issues that podcasters face in the space as it keeps changing. 2023, it's a lot different than 2012 or 2013 in terms of podcast space. So going to talk a little bit about the issues that face podcasters and introduce them all. So let me just get everybody in here. We got Ro from the Scarif podcast. What's up, Ro?
What's up, brother?
What's going on? And we got Reed Murphy from the 323 podcast. What's going on?
How's it going?
We also got Scott from the 323.
How's it going?
And then last but not least here, we got Emily. What's the name of your podcast, Emily?
Emily Sissel asks, what if?
Ask What If. Welcome, everybody, to the show.
I'm glad she didn't steal the sign on like Scott did. Oh, how's it going? You have like 100 different things that you could have said.
Oh, you're welcome.
So, thank you guys for coming on and being a part of it. I've been on all your shows so far, except Emily's. And you guys have a variety of different topics. We also have a couple of other podcasters that might be jumping in late. So if you see me looking down, it's because somebody might have joined us. And wanted to jump right into it with you about, number one, how your podcast started, and number two, what it fulfills. Because I had this interesting conversation with a friend of mine that's helping us with some logo and some artwork for the other pod. And he was basically asking me, like, what is the goal of your podcast? And I know a lot of people's goal for a podcast is the podcast itself. It is to podcast. It is to stream. It is to create that type of content. I thought for myself, my podcast was more of a way to gain more of an audience for the podcast, and because I love to talk and connect with people, but more so for other parts of my career, you know. By having a podcast, I think I want more people to know that I'm a director, about my films and stuff like that, and I want to get them be more into me through that. But Ro, let's start with you with Scarif and the Five Network. What is it that it fulfills for you in terms of creating content, and tell us a little bit about how you got started.
Sure. You know, those that you asked are all questions that a lot of businesses get asked before they start their business. And I think for me in particular, I didn't take that approach. I think my podcast started with a buddy of mine on the internet. You know, mom says never to make friends with people on the internet, but I did anyways. We started in 2019. Star Wars Celebration was here in Chicago, and I've always wanted to, you know, just talk about stuff that I love. My podcast happens to be Star Wars related, but it kind of like morphed after 2 years, a year and a half. I love more than just Star Wars. I love, you know, comic books and Star Trek and Star Wars and movies and all sorts of nerdy things. So we kind of morphed a Star Wars only podcast into, you know, anything and everything geek. You know, through that, you know, you said something earlier too that definitely was on my mind, is to make connections, to talk about the stuff that we love and maybe share some ideas with other people that share the same thoughts and feelings and likes as we did. You know, again, we started in 2019. And 2 years after that, I think 2020 is when I started the Red 5 Network, which is a collection of content creators under the Red 5 Network banner. And there are about 37 of us, channels and podcasts and YouTubers and et cetera, et cetera. But I think that was a fulfillment of, I guess, an idea that we had early on, is really to just connect. You know, nobody's getting rich off of this. It was, you know, started as a hobby. We just wanted to kind of chill and relax, and you know, it's kind of like therapy. I mean, if you podcast, it's kind of like a release. It's a little therapeutic after a long day's work or long week. And, you know, you just kind of chill and, you know, have drinks with your friends and talk about the stuff that you like, movies, action figures, whatever. So that was really kind of my approach with both my podcast in particular and also the lovely folks of the Red 5 Network.
Now you said that it's it started as Star Wars, but then it evolved into just all things geek. And I think I asked you about this, but what is the most far away from Star Wars that you've gotten in terms of a podcast that's part of that network?
Well, like you mean in our podcast or the entire network per se?
In the network, yeah.
I mean, there's all sorts of stuff. You know, there's Star Trek podcasts, there's Magic the Gathering, there's Dungeons and Dragons. I mean, it really kind of, you know, movie reviews. It really runs the gamut of all the stuff that we all like. You know?
Absolutely. Reed, I'm going to go to you because we connected through Reddit. And when you were looking for podcast guests and I was looking for podcast guests and I ended up randomly being on a World Cup preview with you and Emily. But what was the genesis for the 323? Which did Emily have her pod first? Did you go first? How did that work?
No, mine started first. It pretty much morphed out of the pandemic and out of COVID boredom. I've already been wanting to get into the broadcast realm, into sports media. That's been the play at VCU, and while everything is so slow moving, I just figured at a point, fuck it, I can start a show myself. I want to get these thoughts out now. Let's do this now. And I got a lot of inspiration from Dan Le Batard in the Dan Le Batard Show, from formerly of ESPN, and just the freedom that they got from starting their own thing. And Dan is a Cuban American. He went out of his way to try and give a spotlight to brilliant voices in sports media of, people who are Black, Latino, Asian, women, and just giving them more of a spotlight from his own work and getting their brilliant thoughts out there. And I figure, I'm like, I know so many people who have great ideas and great thoughts in sports that I would love to see their stuff get out there. Emily, being a soccer and MMA, she has so many brilliant ideas and brilliant takes from it. Scott is like one of the greatest college football minds that I know, and he can tell you. And while we were doing picks for NFL games, it was messy, but college games, dude has it. He has it all the time. Zoo is the same way when it comes to Commanders and so many other things. I've gotten to talk to so many people and getting their voices out there, and so I figure if I can start building myself up at the same time, let me try and bring as many great people that are around me and these great minds that have helped to shape me a little bit too. Let's bring us all up at the same time and try and crash the kind of boring, lame sports media world that we have of just yell at each other, debate about stupid, silly thing. Let's actually dive into the silliness of the sport.
Well, yeah, I think it's interesting also that you're primarily like you do a lot of sports stuff, but then you also delve into pop culture, top 5 list, a bunch of other stuff as well.
Oh, yeah.
I know Ro kind of stays away from sports. He's more just stays to the nerdy stuff. Scott, how was it? How was it when Reed approached you to be a part of that? Have you done anything like that before, or did you just kind of find it as an outlet to kind of get out there?
Yeah, no, this is definitely my first go at any kind of social media, podcasting kind of realm to everything. I know I've known Reed for a long time now, working together for a while. And when he approached me looking for help, just for another voice in the show, when the NFL season had started last season, I said, yeah, sure. I'll help out in any way possible. And of course, the kind of like the running joke on the show that I paid my way on because I was one of the first Patreon subscribers.
Hey,
Nothing wrong with that.
Oh, and by the way, Reed, I checked my bank statement today, and yes, that money did come out today.
It went through? Okay, perfect.
It went through.
All right, so you can stay on tonight.
You can stay on.
I bought myself another month.
You can forward my cut to. I'll give you that.
But no, you're right. It does have that kind of therapeutic kind of nature to it because it's an hour and a half kind of built into the week where me and Emily and Reed and Zoo can all kind of sit down and just talk. and there's a kind of a loose kind of rundown to what we want to talk about that night. But it's just it's fun just being able to sit there and kind of relax and talk about things.
Yeah, no, it's a fun time. I almost introduced myself as Lou from the 323 the other day. I was like, wait, I've been on you guys' show a bunch of times. I'm unofficially official as far as I can tell. All right, and then Emily, I wanted to quickly check in with you. So how did that transition to you figuring out what Emily asked what if would come about? Is that something that had been germinating in your head, or did it come out pandemic related as well?
Reed is very, very humble in saying that he was bored of the pandemic, but in reality, he's had the idea of a 323 network, his own sports broadcasting network, whatever medium it may be. Probably, I think he's said like since high school. He's thought out like entire business plans behind the whole thing. I mean, truly knows this business inside and out. And so with the pandemic, I kind of just really was encouraging him a lot to just say fuck it and start doing it. Because in our relationship, he tends to be a very thought out thinker, and I'm a very impulse. I do anything. I buy plane tickets the night before going places and stuff like that. I really think that him adding my show was him saying, babe, I'm really tired of hearing your rants and social theories on how sports overall impact society, government, economics as a whole. And as like little bit background knowledge, I'm a middle school social studies teacher. And like my really big thing that I emphasized a lot in college, I got a degree in leisure and recreation.
Okay.
And I really looked at how people spend their recreation and leisure time like all throughout history, and a lot of that's sports, and how it impacts overall just societal and cultural changes, whether it be among like the government and overall just vibe among an entire country, economics, all that type of stuff. And in the realm of all of the geeky as well as the sports, because if you look at my tattoos, I'm a massive comics person, and I am what they call the superhero teacher. So it started a lot with Reed, like broadcasting and helping me get across what I do in my classroom with pop culture and comic books, as well as then encouraging me to put all these thoughts and rants that I've studied to a what if scenario. We got very inspired when the What If animated show came out, and by reading the What If comics, and just putting different sports scenarios out there and asking, well, like, what if this one little thing changed? Specifically in American football, the big thing is the play that the church had. So what if the church hadn't allowed people to use their private property space for sport and recreation? What would have happened? And just kind of going, it's very story-like. Reed does a lot of the production side behind that, and it just turned into a whole thing. But again, I'm a middle school teacher, so there hasn't been an episode for a year because I'm tired and grading all the time.
Okay. Well, you're always on the 323, so that's good.
I am.
Don't worry, we're going to repurpose it for Super Week. We had a great
episode
halftime show last year. We're going to repurpose it.
Let's normalize giving your significant other podcast as a love language, right? Let's go there.
Hashtag nepotism.
I think it really was he was tired of listening to me rant. And I mean, it also helps me in terms of like, because I eventually want to get my doctorate and stuff, I can like bring them to this podcast and be like, listen to all of my thoughts and all this production we put behind this. I don't know. There's like a whole lot behind it.
And it's fun in trying to explore the variety, because I've gotten used to now describing the main show, the 323, as a sports variety show. Because like you said, you see us diving into a whole bunch of shit all the time and everything. And, Ro, we should talk too, because he would fit right in with a lot of the stuff that Em and I like to get into with our, M's Marvel Minute, so much different nerd talk.
Yeah, that's another reason that I wanted to do this, is because, like I said, I know I want to connect podcasters as well. Like, he's got the Red 5 Network. I know Emily does a draft with Marvel characters, right? Marvel Fantasy League.
Mm-hmm.
You guys talk about Star Wars as well. So I want to jump into a little bit more, but I wanted to ask Ro because I want to get his take on a couple of subjects before he has to go, which is the main thing that I wanted to ask, and the whole reason I think is the main factor that I wanted to kind of get some podcasters to talk about this is two things. Because podcasting has been around for a while, and it's always been a niche. You know, it's always been, are you going to be like a true crime podcast? You know, are you going to be like a audio play? Are you going to be sports? Or are you going to be geeky, right? And then the other one is basically news, culture, stuff like that. But what do you feel currently in the space is the biggest challenges that smaller podcast launching have, or even getting from that mid-tier level to sort of, and I'm not sure what you guys would consider success, but once you get into like 5,000 or even over 1,000 downloads an episode, maybe getting close to 5,000 downloads an episode, when you start getting able to play with some of the mid-tier, not the big boys, not the $2-3 million downloads, obviously. But what do you think the biggest challenges for that? And do you, and also, and I'll let you answer these in whatever order you want. How do you feel about celebrities that jump onto the bandwagon? They sometimes do paywall podcasts, and they're jumping in 7 steps ahead of what we've all had to take in terms of researching, figuring out a name, figuring out equipment, figuring out promotion, struggling to find guests. Whereas if you jump in with a name, established and stuff, you can pretty much bypass all the grind that most of us had to do. So, Ro, I'll give you some space to kind of answer those.
Yeah, those are interesting questions. Obviously the market is saturated. I think anybody can start a podcast now, and they do. It's easy to do. The technology has allowed anyone to just kind of set up shop. And I went through this because I also own a video and film production company here in Chicago. And when I started it in 1994, we were the first Midwest production house to have nonlinear editing. Even before the TV stations did, we went and did that. But I think the aspect of technology, we were in it for a while before the technology kind of was dumbed down a little bit. So, anybody can go and call themselves a videographer. You just have to have $200 and a Best Buy card, and you can get a video camera and do that. Where, I went to college for it. As they say, you pay your dues, you learn what you can, and then you practice it in school and in work and et cetera, et cetera. And I think, podcasters are going through the same thing. We do have, there is a lot of work before us before we actually get to that point. And like you said, I mean, Conan O'Brien's got his podcast. He's Conan O'Brien. He can start wherever he wants and get as many people as he wants, whoever he wants, just make a phone call. And for us, it's, the grind is hard. But I think you have to temper that with what is your goal. Do you want to be, the next, Conan O'Brien, or are you enjoying what you're doing, now at this moment? I think you have to have priorities set before you, because if you don't, if you're always striving to be Conan O'Brien, you're going to get disappointed. Not to say that you can't be Conan O'Brien one day or a bigger podcast, but I think you have to kind of temper those expectations because the market is so saturated, because everybody and the grandmother has a podcast. You have to really focus on what your niche is and work on the satisfaction of that process, whether it's internal or how you relate to your peers. And by peers, I mean, other podcasters that may have started the same time that you did, or are partners, our guests. You guys, we a lot of times we guest on each other's show, and that's great because we feed off of each other's energy. But I think you have to be realistic with what it is that that you're wanting to do with your program, whether it's a podcast or YouTube or whatever. The other challenge too is not to fall in the trap of, I'll give you an example in my world. especially Star Wars, there is a I don't know, there's a trend uh, of hating things, and the more you hate it, the more money you make because you're on screen hating everything that comes out. And I don't feel it's genuine. I don't feel it's healthy, but the algorithm, whatever that algorithm is, likes that because it draws attention to that and it feeds that. It's a monster that gets fed that way. And a lot of times I feel like there's no middle ground. There's no like, okay, cool, you like that, but you don't like that. Okay, cool, that's fine. Let's talk about it. Let's just be fans and hang out and discuss that topic. It's always who can yell the loudest, who can put more red arrows in their thumbnails, who can put laser eyes on their guests or whatever. It's
You can bring up the most ridiculous things to
right,
get mad at. Like what was the
right,
one? The screws and the
right. Star Wars sucks because there's screws and bricks in Andor. Okay, that's fine.
His basic
But
tools would not still be used in the future. There's a reason they've been used for centuries.
because they work, yeah. But stuff like that. You just have to kind of temper your expectations, I guess. And again, just focus on what it is that you enjoy. And if you're enjoying it and you find other people that are enjoying it too, then I think you're pretty damn successful.
absolutely. That's a great take because I think I think there's the people like Conan O'Brien that already come but they also had a successful talk show. They have an audience. And then there's people like Joe Rogan, who was semi-successful as an actor, comedian, and then he got even more successful as a podcaster. But it was after years and years of putting out content that not a lot of people were watching and really slow organic growth. And then there's the other types of serial and other things like that are just that are just niches that people because audio was never going to go away as a platform. So I think it's also very interesting to just enjoy what it is that you're doing. Do you so is the Red 5 network open for applications anytime soon? Is there like a pledge week? Do we have to get jumped in, or what's the deal?
You got to get jumped in, and we got to collect some blood specimens. Absolutely. I have a kit right here ready to go.
Yeah. All right. Well, we know that your time is so. If you got to jump off at any time, Ro, just go ahead. Let you know.
I'd love to hear everybody else's take. That's cool.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So let's go back over to Miss Emily. What are your thoughts on that in terms of just the biggest, obviously time for you maybe because you're grading papers and you're a teacher, right? But other than that, what do you think the biggest challenge if you didn't have the backing of somebody that's supporting you, how difficult would it be for you to start something on your own? And what challenges do you think you see in the podcast space?
I mean, specifically with my podcast in terms of like the access to academic journals, and you get bumped behind paywalls in terms of like actual legitimate academic journals if you're looking for real research, though a lot of people seem to just kind of ignore real research a lot of the times. That would be one of the hardest things. Luckily, that's like one of the benefits of working for a school system is like through libraries and stuff. I've been able to have the same access to those types of journals that I had when I was in college and studying, which helps me make sure that like, yes, I'm not going crazy. That was a legitimate fact that I remembered from 6 years ago in Sports History 101.
Right.
Which seems like a very niche thing for me, but like if you are trying to do more like an educational side, like podcast, like I mean that's a whole podcast in itself. The access to information in America, and we seem to be fine with falsifying information, putting it on all social media platforms, but legitimate research is backed behind paywalls.
Absolutely, the same reason a salad costs $8, but a cheeseburger costs $1, right?
Exactly. So all kinds of debates that can be had there. And then in terms of like, having famous people do podcasts and stuff like that, I can say as like me personally, for like Brie Larson has a podcast. I love Brie. She's my Captain Marvel. She's funny. She's quirky. But honestly, if I need to like hear her thoughts and stuff like that, she's so famous. She goes on all these talk shows and all of her thoughts are so like easily accessible. When I want to hear somebody's thoughts on like, Star Wars, like honestly, I don't want to necessarily hear from Diego Luna as much as I love him. I can hear a lot of his thoughts in interviews. Instead, I would actually listen to the Strand of Panda Network, which does all kinds of different Star Wars and geeky stuff, and maybe the Scarif podcast that now that I know it exists. Because,
The
I
scuttlebutt.
the scuttlebutt, uh, all of these, wonderful, just like everyday nerds and geeks. Because it really just feels more like I'm like sitting around with my friends and debating and having cool talks with them.
Absolutely.
So I feel like there's plenty of medium for us to be absolutely just fine. I know lots and lots of people, they don't necessarily feel the need to seek out and listen to those famous people. I mean, they're automatically going to get listens, but we
I
get,
mean, those they might be buying some of those to make themselves look good because I think it's
yeah,
more
who
like
knows?
it's more of a I think it's more of a status thing. I think for actors sometimes now, and you've gotten to the point
Yeah.
where there's so many podcasts that there's podcast about podcast. There's podcasts directly related to laughing at podcasts to be like, oh, look at this
There's
stupid.
TV shows about podcasts,
Yeah,
only
so it's,
murders in the building,
yeah, it's a whole thing. Go ahead, Emily.
No, it's just that's really just like my thoughts on a lot of that. Yeah.
Okay. All right, Reed. Let me get to you. Sports is probably one of the most inundated fields out there because not only do you have the sports experts, but there was also a shift in sports entertainment when they started getting more and more ex jocks and ex players. So now it's like the player to commentator pipeline. Tom Brady retires. He already has like a $300 million contract or something with Fox, right? It doesn't leave a lot of space for people who just grew up loving sports and stuff like that. So choosing to enter sports entertainment, what kind of research and what kind of things are you looking into to make sure you're not wasting your time? Do you think that your passion for it is going to carry you through it? Do you think that if you just, for example, in acting and in filmmaking, and maybe Ro can attest to this, I think the majority of people that don't succeed are the people that quit. Because I think if you stick around enough as an actor, and you keep going and you keep improving, you keep working, you will get roles. There will be a time when people need somebody that looks like you, and same for filmmaking. So did you feel that just because you had done the research, you were going to be successful? And what kind of research did you do other than watching Don Levertard and Poppy to sort of feel comfortable about that?
Yeah, shout out to Poppy. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a big mix of both there where you're hoping with that passion that the passion will carry you through, that you're going to keep going and keep trying your hardest with it. But I'm glad that you brought that up because we're talking about celebrities getting into podcast game. Now, sports media, as you said, incredibly crowded already. Now you have the athletes who are coming in with their own take and trying to get their curb on the sports media landscape. Draymond Green has a huge one. We said Tom Brady. Tom Brady's already got a show with Larry Fitzgerald and Jim Gray, where he can curb any news and curb any perspective on himself, and naturally people are going to go listen to them. And while you have some great KD's show, and it's great to get their perspectives and all, but you have to also look at how often are you going to get the truth with it, right? Like you have journalists who are doing great work on different shows and different podcasts who will put into the research, but a lot of people aren't going to listen to them. You're going to have KD, who's already sensitive as hell, Draymond jump in and shut things down. So with everybody just continuing to crowd the landscape, not only do you need the passion, but you also have to have an idea and a passion to revolutionize. So it starts going past just podcasting, and that's the idea, and that's the next step in everything, right? Like there's podcasts all over the place. Everybody has one. We have them. I mean, the fact that we have two in this apartment right now that we're talking from, it's anybody can do it. So I start looking at the next phase of this, like where does sports media go from here as linear TV starts to die? Can we jump from just audio to start getting more into digital video? That's already getting a little more cornered. Bill Simmons is launching pretty much his own network of sports television there with
Sports
The Ringer. But yeah, and sports bet. And so you start having to look towards what's the next phase. And that's where the research comes in now. And how are we going to revolutionize this? How can we take the small base of loyal fans that we have and, inside jokes and continue to grow this out? It's why we're so variety based, why we're casting this net with, Emily Sissel asks what if, to get you more storytelling and a history based look at sports and capture a little bit more of the nerd audience that we love. It's why we do our nerd and dork based shows on Marvel and Star Wars and everything that we love and that we get other people's love on. I've got politics with the delegate Joshua Cole, former delegate Joshua Cole from Virginia. And he'll come on. We'll talk politics for an hour and also MCU because he's also a nerd. And then I've got my buddy Travis Byram, who I think is one of the greatest film minds that I know and can tell me anything about cinema and film. And now working with him on a podcast about producing a play, about how he's trying to get a musical produced and how we could do a dive into that. And so just casting this net out, trying to capture as much as we can through this network and then revolutionize it, getting more remote video projects done, which as Luis has seen trying to do the show a couple weeks, video has been a bitch lately for us, but we're growing and we're learning.
Listen. I've been shout out StreamYard because I've never have any issues. The audio maybe is not as perfect as Zoom or a couple of, or like what's the best audio one? FM, right? FM is usually.
I've heard FM. Yeah, Zoom has been the best audio wise for me. I love StreamYard and I love the layout, but then the audio was trying to connect everything is just.
You can also, although now on StreamYard you can download individual audio clips if you wanna edit them before. So I think they're the ones that are trying the best. So
I've been using StreamYard for a long time, and I've also been using Zencaster for the ability to download everybody's audio separately. StreamYard just started doing that a couple months ago, and I love it. I just cut our podcast that drops tomorrow with StreamYard, and I just grabbed everybody's audio. It's perfect because, sometimes we overlap dialogue and stuff, and I just kind of like want to separate it so it's not so messy. And when it's when everybody's channel is separated, I love it. Yeah, and the quality wasn't that bad either.
We'll have occasional contributors in space. Yeah.
Scott and I are like producing things. I don't know. Just come and talk.
And I'll bring this. I'll get us to another topic. I want to get Scott's thought on that in a second. But Latin Jukebox, thanks for joining us. Interesting conversation. Growing organically is a consistency game despite the difficulties. Absolutely. You might be checking in with us in a little bit. I did an interview for him a week ago. It was a lot of fun. So I guess my thought on that would be just that in terms of technology and stuff, like I love StreamYard and I'm open to trying the other stuff. But the whole reason, and here's another topic, which is streaming versus podcasting, because the whole reason that I enjoy doing the podcast is because I love getting it out there. But I do think that for me personally, editing is the thing that I love the least about it. I hate editing my own movies when I do cameos because I hate looking at myself on screen and having to judge myself. And I hate hearing myself again when I'm editing a podcast because I always think, what kind of stupid shit? Why are you always, how many times are you going to tell that same fucking story? And I'm just like, I know other people haven't heard it, but for me, it's such a opinion. So my solution was, don't say anything stupid. Stream while you record your podcast and you record your interviews, and then clip anything. And the only thing I clip out is stuff that's like purely visual, like when me and Sophia or something are talking about watching clips from TikTok or something, and it's not something that's audio, I'll clip stuff like that out. But besides that, that's why I stream while I pod, because then I could just throw it out there and let them know. Ro, before you go, I wanted to kind of see if you had any feedback based on what Reed and Emily's answer this, if you wanted to follow up on that.
No, I think one of the things that I do want to comment on is totally agree with Latin Jukebox. The organic growth is always worth a lot more. Somebody mentioned that some folks buy their follows or buy their listens, and I don't know. I was approached by somebody to do that, and I'm like, yeah, but it's not real. It just doesn't feel right. I think. We've been on Twitter for 3 years, and we have, gathered a consistent group of people that retweet and follow and interact. And it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to interact with real people on social media regarding your show, regarding your account, whatever it is that you're talking about. And that's one of the things that is, always one of the cool things. And thank you very much I didn't even realize my website was still up. So thank you. And that's the other thing too, when it comes to, being a content creator. Yeah, there's all this other stuff that you have to take care of. I set this up, and this is old, but I set this up a long time ago, and I just kind of set it and forget it. You really do need like somebody working on your stuff like 24/7. And we do live shows on Saturdays, and then we do podcast audio only drops on Thursdays. But I love editing. I work for news here in television in Chicago, and editing and being a photographer is my thing. So I love putting things together. I love the editing process. Our show is kind of very produced. So I have, what do they call it in the record business? I got needle drops and interviews and different clips and audio things that going on all over the place. But all the Star Wars silliness there. And I just think it's a lot more fun when you are interacting with folks on social media organically.
Absolutely. So check out Ro at Scarif Podcast and the Red 5 Network, and you can check him out, buy some of his swag, check out some of the pod, and for you guys here, connect with him so that you guys can cross the streams, that they say, guest on each other's shows and whatnot. So thanks, Ro, for joining us. I know you got to go, man, but I always appreciate you making the time. Whenever I throw up the pod, bat signal, he's always down.
For sure.
All right, man. Have a good day.
You too, man. Take care, everybody. Nice to meet you. And I know I followed some of you guys already, but thank you so much.
All right. All right. Excellent. Moving right along. Here, let me rearrange you guys.
Hey, welcome to the 323.
Hey.
I need like that 10-2 playoff record, my friend.
Oh yeah. See, we should put something on the Super Bowl with that. Yeah, everybody checking out. Yeah, Luis is holy shit. He's dominating all of us on our show, on our network.
I'm very thankful that he wasn't on for Ricks versus Ricks for the whole season, because that would have been bad for everybody.
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, now we know.
I'm currently 5-2, and I didn't actually predict the first round, so I think I'm pretty dang good right now.
If you would have gone
his brains out for a week,
if you could have somehow gone 6-0 the first week, you would have you'd be ahead by now if I could do math correctly. Yeah, no. Honestly, like I said, I think it just comes from perspective of having a shitty team and just being able to see the rest of the teams for what they are.
I have a shitty team too.
It's okay. My team's just now getting shitty.
Whoa. Who has the number 1 draft pick this year?
Well,
my team, the Bears.
You could thank Lovey Smith for that.
Let's get real here.
That's a good point. Well, I am talking here with the members of the 323. I want to see if anybody else is going to stop by, but I wanted to have you guys on anyway because I've guested on your show many a time. So editing.
Yeah.
That's all Reed.
The vein of every podcaster's existence, right? What do you like I said, I do this because I don't like to edit.
Right.
So if I tell people up front, hey, we recorded the podcast live, they don't bitch as much about it.
In a sense, it's the bane. It can be so tedious. How because we're about to hit 2 years in a couple months on the main show, and it's just gotten easier and easier when it comes to editing. I've become less strict about certain things. I know I can feed some music in some places to get over the little pauses, but there's something fun to it for me in a dorky, nerdy sense where like Emily's pod with Emily Sissel Asks What If, it's some of the most fun I have when it comes to editing and putting together this story and throwing together these different clips in there and trying to do the best I can and creating something that's not like too overproduced. But it, like Rose said, when it comes to, having social media, TikTok is becoming bigger than ever. Instagram, running the Instagram page, or Facebook, or Twitter, which I've just converted into my Twitter now because that's where all my awful takes go that end up getting shit on 2 hours later. At 323 REID, by the way, for everybody, it's right there. Having all of that to run, then editing and assembling everybody and making sure the audio is going right, making sure the video is going correctly, making sure the stream is happening. It can drive you insane a little bit. And it would be like, that's part of the next step in finding, more producers, finding some people I can trick into jumping into this passion project, maybe having some passion themselves. And, hey, Scott will pay you through the Patreon. He'll pay you directly for it. And that way we can ease some of it off. It would make it a lot easier, but
look,
it still hasn't killed the passion and the love.
I can edit anybody else's work. I can be critical. I can edit any movie. I can be surgical with that shit, especially video. But it's just I don't know. I guess it's getting over hearing yourself. I guess it would be.
No, I agree. I agree with that because I absolutely hate hearing my own voice to where I used to listen to I would used to go the next day or two and listen back to the episodes that we would record. And then I got to the point where I couldn't even stand it, to where now my favorite ones to listen to are going to be like Reed and Travis talking about movies, because those who listen to the show understand my stance on the movie theater and movies just in general. So it's weird that that's become my new favorite kind of the episodes on the actual podcast.
I'm a teacher, so I love to hear my voice. It's the constant joke from all teachers. Now, it was really weird hearing my voice at first and hearing my thoughts, but as that's just like a thing with teachers, is that it's not really much of a bother anymore because we constantly hear ourselves constantly.
I've gotten used to. I used to hate hearing my own voice too, but now I actually don't mind it. Like I can listen to the show. I listen to the show on like drives home, everything, to see where something went wrong or any cliches or sticking points that I'm staying with that I need to get rid of, which it goes away sometimes.
Really? So you listen back. You listen back and I can't do that. I've never been able to re-listen to an episode.
No way.
It's these conversations that I have, like this past episode that we did where it was a crossover with Fireside Chats, and people watching this need to go check it out. It was Bracket Bits. Luis came on and hosted the DMV Bracket Bits. I can listen to that episode over and over because it was so much fun to do with you guys, and the conversation was so much fun. And so I guess like bleeding that, like just having legitimate fun and having great conversations with the people that come on the show, it makes it a little easier. I guess the solo segments I don't want to hear myself too much, but I am trying to create a little bit of a narcissistic personality so that I can do some of these solo segments and just hear myself talk. Trying. We're getting there.
Whenever he does my cast, when he edits it, because he adds so much, because he adds like all these like background clips and stuff to make it really feel like I'm telling a story. Like if I'm talking about baseball, it sounds like baseball chants and cheers and like all like he puts like the like time like actual timed
Sound
music
design.
and like all kinds of stuff like that. So like for me, when I listen back on my podcast, it's like a whole new experience. It's not just me literally reading the story that I have written down on a script, because when I have to do this, I have to write down the entire script, because I have to check back with my information, all kinds of stuff like that. And so once he adds it, it's like a whole other
Soundscape.
land for me.
You know, it's interesting just reacting to what Reed was saying, because when you phrase it like that in terms of, I guess it would make sense to listen back for to make sure you're not repeating yourself too much, or just kind of to just check yourself, and then to revisit those conversations. I think that would be interesting. I think another difficulty that I have is understanding that in the space that we're in now, you need to be able to cut clips. You have to constantly share clips to Instagram and TikTok and other places, Twitter, etc., to get more people to join in. So I guess what I'm saying is I probably need an editor.
Yeah, it helps. I feel like it helps.
but more for video clips than for audio stuff, I think, because I think, like, for example, like my intention after I do every bracket bit is to recut it and have its own, and I've done 2 or 3 of them, but then when I go to do it, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm not just going to cut it from A to B and put it back out there. I'm going to download all the movie posters or pictures of all the people that we talked about, and then I'm going to have them come up on my screen. And then after that, I'm like, oh, well, now I want there to be like a versus sign, like a Street Fighter type deal. Right. And then a little animation. So then I start messing around with that. And then I end up taking way too many hours editing something to put online, and then it wasn't getting a lot of views. So then I think that's kind of like where it got stuck for me. But I think that's the area that I need to improve the most, is in listening more to the pod so that I can more easily find clips that are better. Because what I end up doing is just trying to write down, oh, Sophia said something interesting here. There was a funny joke. I did a rant at this time, and then I try to go back and find it. And that's usually like a pain in the ass.
And that's where it's like so important too, is like that engagement, like that engagement online and getting those clips cut and put out there. Like, I need to be better about getting them out too, because TikTok, I think the first week of the playoffs, it was Jaguars Titans. Maybe that might have been the first week, or it was the week before, something. And I put out a clip of Scott shitting on the Titans and us going with the Jaguars. I think it was last final week, or no, it was against the Chargers. Yeah. We shit on the Chargers. Scott shit on them. Jaguars ended up getting the win, but we pissed off so many Chargers fans on TikTok. And I had so many like DMs on all these different socials, but our viewership was crazy that week because people wanted to listen, and then we got it right, and it stayed on. So it's crazy important to get that engagement going.
Yeah, if there was something, if there was another area that you would that you think you guys need to improve on, what do you think it would be?
Video.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, video. I would love to be doing live streams like this, but I'm also terrified of the video cutting out on us or audio getting all jumbled around. So working on that is a big next step, and just getting to do more video remote segments and little projects like when we went to Katsucon.
Okay.
Figuring out really dumb echoes because we live in the same apartment. And so him trying, because like if we're all in a room together, it's no problem whatsoever for any of that. But it's when we also have other things incorporated, then things start to echo and do weird stuff. So
yeah, you gotta get over that fear of being live, though. That's kind of what it was for me too, because I did about 50 episodes of a previous podcast. It was only audio. It was called Indie Apocalypse, where we talked about indie filmmaking. And then I did probably a few episodes of Fireside Chats offline as well. had a pain in the ass editing and stuff like that. And then I was just like, hey man, we're gonna do your interview live. Are you cool with that? And they're like, yeah. And I was like, all right. And it's like, all right, did it. And then I don't know. Now it's like second nature to me. Like the time it takes me to like prep before was like 20 minutes where I would get everything methodically. Now 5 minutes before, I'm like, boom, make sure the mic is on, make sure I got my coffee. You know, I'm already big Chief Burrito, so they expect me to be chiefing.
And see, like I think the fear more just comes around like the tech base, because I would love to do live because I think it's just a little more dangerous. There's something dangerous to it, especially with the shit that we talk about right before we go on air with Scott and Make-A-Wish kids. Or
I was just about to say the amount of shit that I know that I've said or you said or M or Zoo, the things that we've said that have been cut out of the show that would be
just like I mean, like how long it takes us with like top 5 places only white people go is one of our it's fantastic content that would be great live, and then I can clip it, I can make it a podcast episode, and you just miss out on things if it's live. But the consistency that we're all getting and the chemistry that we've gelled together on between me and Scott and M when she's on, and our buddy Zahir Ali of the Animation Deliberation podcast when he's on. That fucker would be here tonight, but he's at a Caps game throwing popcorn.
He's on a magic carpet ride He's on a magic carpet ride somewhere.
That kind of shit. Yeah, that we're going on that. It would make so much for like fun. I would love to do live shows like at certain bars, or from like our Fred Nats games, or potentially like a convention, a comic convention. If we could do like a live show from one of those, it would be so much fun. Just I gotta nail down the video part of this, and after that, I think I'm good on audio.
Yeah. You got the voice for it there too, guy.
Oh, thank you.
We are fully aware of this voice, and I don't know why he was so like ashamed of listening to his voice before, because it's the perfect amount of bass. But
because then we do a show with Josh Cole and that chocolate velvet voice,
and then I have like an orgasm over his voice alone. Yeah.
Hey, I'm right there with you. It's okay.
Yeah, it's amazing. He's a
silky
preacher
smooth.
for a reason.
Silky smooth. And go ahead. And then, Scott, and then I mean, from your perspective, you're the college football expert. Did you ever think about maybe doing something specifically focused on that? Do you like being able to focus on multiple things? And where do you see your future as a podcaster going?
See, I've always viewed myself as more of like the just along for the ride kind of thing. I don't see myself actually like doing my own thing, not because it's kind of a fear, but I think between working full time, going to school full time now, being a single parent, and then doing this, it's a lot to kind of juggle. Maybe when college football season rolls around next fall, maybe we can look into doing it. Maybe I'll get a little bit more gumption behind me to actually do something on my own, but we'll have to wait and see.
And he's got like, that's the thing though, he has like the personality, he has like the star shine to him, and so many of these folks do. Emily has that, Zoo has Zoo, I keep claiming Zoo like Zoo wasn't already part of a network, everything, but we stole him anyway, fuck it. And Griffin, Travis, Emily, Karen, when she comes on from Sportico, like there's so much talent there. And so many pods, like I have an idea for like a purely top 5 podcast that I would love Scott to host. But it's like said, we also have to juggle everything else with our lives with full-time jobs. I work in daycare right now and also go to school in Richmond and commute twice a week. So then trying to work and pay bills and do schoolwork so I can graduate and all of this shit on top of trying to build a podcast network. It's exhausting, but we're making it and trying to drive off of this fuel of passion. I sounded very writer with that fuel of passion.
Because you are a writer.
It's true.
Like,
And I think also a frustrated filmmaker. I think that'll be your ultimate. Once you get all of that podcasting out of you, I think you'll start making movies.
I mean, that was the first dream.
That's always
That
his
was the
dream.
Yeah, my dream was screenwriting and directing, and we did so many shitty but fun little movies when I was a kid that I think we should start posting.
Goldberg style.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I could definitely see that. I could see that.
No, man. I mean, I think movie making is fun. That's all I know. One of the things I don't know much about a lot of these. I know making movies is fun because I've made a bunch. So let's get more people into space. Well, now that I got you guys here, I don't know if any of my other podcast friends are going to be able to jump around. Let me get your thoughts on a couple of current event type deals. All right.
Oh, we love current events.
Let's get it. All right, we're live with the crew from the 323 and Emily Asks What If from the 323 podcast network, right? From the East Coast, live and direct.
Yeah, go to YouTube, 323 Network. You'll find it all.
The 323 Network. So I participated in the playoff competitions and, trounced you. Is that the right word? Trounced? But
oh my God.
give me what's your overall opinion of kind of this NFL season and Brady retired again?
Scott's hiding his face right now as a Bucs fan.
Do you think it's for real? Number one.
Oh yeah.
Are the Raiders for real?
Yeah, he's Donzo, right? He's out into the sunset.
Oh yeah, no, he's out.
I thought we were going to be able to start asking, are the Raiders for real? Because I was for sure that Brady was just going to keep playing next year. He seemed like he was going to play either for either the Raiders or the 49ers. My thought was possibly the New England Patriots again for like a little, Kobe Bryant kind of finale tour situation.
Yeah. Ooh,
but
come back home, the prodigal son returns.
And I still think that it's going to happen. We got a month left. Look, it's convenient timing, right? Because what's coming out on Friday? He retires today, and 80 for Brady releases on Friday.
Oh,
it's a little,
that's right.
Open your third eye. We know what's happening. Or open your 80 eyes.
Oh, right. He's going to see the movie, and he's going to realize how much he loves football, and he can't leave.
It's going to be a post-credit scene, that exact thing that he did this morning as part of a post-credit scene, and then, like, Sally Field pops up next to him, and she's like, you should go one more year. Or something like that. It's going to be all a play. It's a play. We'll find out Friday.
It's a play within a play. Yeah. Hey, what's up, Mr. CCDV? We were talking podcasting earlier, and now we're just talking about shit that's going on. NFL.
That's our
My
cat, by the
just
way.
clawed on me.
Oh,
Sorry.
man.
I told you when I moved out here,
My
it
dog.
could have happened.
My dog almost got me in trouble today. I was walking him, and we were walking. There's this guy with a bulldog and his thing, and he's all of a sudden he's just walking next to me, and then the dog did something or just moved towards him for like a second, and he just launched my arm went like this, like he almost took me down, man. And I'm like 300 pounds, so that's not easy. Like he almost smacked my butt off. Hey, the movie loot. Thanks for stopping by. Great conversation. You're talking about a lot of things that are currently not allowing me to jump in. I'm right busy editing delayed episodes, sharing the studio. Blah blah blah. Don't worry about it, man. This is the movie loot podcast. Really interesting takes on cinema, like real deep dives into like old classic movies, stuff like that, and just in terms of on Twitter, he talks a lot about some cool movies and stuff. So we will make it happen at another time, man. Don't worry about it.
Follow. He can come on to the next episode with Travis, so we can talk about why Morbius didn't get more Oscar nominations.
All right, listen. Let me. Now that you bring that up, okay.
Struck a nerve.
We need to stop talking about Morbius because listen.
I agree with you. I think I know where you're going already.
Listen. The studios do not recognize memeage as bad or good. They interpret either as the same thing. Engagement That's all they fucking care about. If there is enough engagement, look what happened at the Oscars the other day. Somebody, what was that write-in vote for the Oscars like 2 years ago, where like some shitty movie got like nominated for best effects, got best effects Oscar or something? I don't remember. What
Yeah,
it was.
they had like it was like they did like a fan favorite
Right.
favorite film of the year, and I think like the what's her name, Camila
Like I said.
Cabello's
Oh,
Cinderella
the
got
Cinderella
nominated.
thing.
Yeah, and Justice League.
Yeah. So there is no such thing as bad or good publicity in their eyes. So if we keep making the Morbius and the Morbin time, that's why that Morbin time thing, they won't do it. Same thing with Velma. So many people hate watch it. So many people hate watch it. So many people are talking about it, trashing it. HBO will just see that as views, and they'll be like, "Hey, guess what? Velma season 2." We just got King of the Hill is coming back. Why? Because all of the fucking Hank Hill rap songs.
Thank you, Bobby.
Yeah, damn
I'm
it,
about
damn
to
ball.
bust.
I got the thing on me. God damn it, Bobby. So what we get, that's a good thing, because we're getting King of the Hill back because of the fact that it became, and then they see those numbers, they go back to him and it's like, hey, King of the Hill is super popular right now. Do you want to make like 20 more episodes and we'll give you like $10 million? Sure. I'll bring back fucking the Hills.
I mean, that's happening with iCarly too. Just like I fully believe they brought that show back just for her to recreate the meme that I think she did on Drake and Josh.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, man.
I'm glad you brought up Velma too, because you got you have a Scooby-Doo expert over there with Emily Sissel.
Come on, let go.
Who's currently fighting our own Scooby-Doo everything over something. But she fully intended on like watching the show at first, because it seemed like kind of like the Scooby-Doo version of Harley Quinn on HBO Max, which we're big fans of over here. But then seeing not only the reactions to just like the quality of the show, but apparently what they do to like the legacy of Scooby-Doo and those characters seems really shitty.
And I saw some of it when they did some previews at New York Comic Con as well, when I was presenting there this year.
Humble brag.
That was the point. Not humble. Not humble, just full brag. But it really was like, I couldn't get behind it. I don't even hate watch it or anything. I can't get behind it. It's a shit show.
Look, there's a whole conversation being had about Mindy Kaling and just how she writes these characters that are not that they're technically representations of the culture, but are really more just I don't know, like it's, I guess problematic is a word, but it's just weird that she's always in love with a white dude and she's always like self-hating, and
she's literally just trying to like get like the woke points, and it's not being true or accurate anyway, and it's really disappointing in the way that she writes Asian characters, considering she is South Asian.
It's an interesting thing, but like I said, if you keep talking about it, it's gonna happen. Even if you don't want it to happen, we're gonna get like 8 more seasons if people thought. Did you let me see what we get here. Same with that 90s show, I guess. I don't know. I haven't watched that yet. Morbius writing campaign. Yeah, Morbius is definitely winning an Oscar. If they do a most popular win, Morbius is winning.
Oh, 100%.
It's like when Vote for Sanjaya became a thing, right?
Oh my God, I forgot about Sanjaya. Yeah, this is so true. Yeah.
Right. We started at Vote for Sanjaya, and this is where we are now, you know?
Yeah, Sanjaya was a pioneer. Who would have thought?
Who would have thought?
Definitely in his top 3 most listened to artists on Spotify.
It's in his rap every year. All right, guys. And then let me ask you this. What is the prospectus for you guys for what did you guys do? Did you guys do any like show goals or resolutions or anything like that?
I think it was to do them weekly. Thing is, do it, be more consistent was like kind of the my unspoken resolution, and so far I think we've stuck to that. We've been sticking to a pretty good like Friday release date. Next week's gonna be fucking crazy.
Super week.
The second annual Super Week, where we're gonna have 5 shows, a show every day, sometimes 2, and just a variety of different assholes coming on to talk about different things before I make them force them to pick a winner for the Super Bowl this year, including these guys, all of you.
Yeah, sure. What is my side topic going to be? No, I'm just kidding. All right, now I'd like to do something that's called Should I Buy This?
Yes.
Let's see what we got here.
Yes.
Should I buy this?
100%.
Yeah.
Turtle surfing.
Yeah. 100%.
Absolutely.
No, hold up. I
Why
want to
not?
see the back. Can you go through the
Oh.
images?
That's pretty cool.
That is
Come on
cool.
now. Look at that.
It's a company, the same company that I got. Like, this is my Year of the Rabbit, Killer Rabbit hat. This is the same company that does these hats, and what usually it's like they release you buy them. They do designs every week. They pick the one, and then they get them custom made. They're new era hats. They're fitted hats, which is the only kind that I wear. And the thing is, some hats, because of the shipping thing, where like all the shipping got stuck from China or whatever during the pandemic, some of the hats took a year to get here.
Oh,
So that's the bad thing, is that you buy the hat and then you have to wait several months to receive it. But they're super original hats.
Wait, but it says the estimated delivery is 3 to 7 days.
Oh no! Well, this is my second part of this. Is that so? What happened is, during the pandemic, a lot of people are like, "Fuck that shit," and they cancel their orders, right? So now they have a bunch of random size hats that they sometimes put on sale, and it's an insta ship, so it means like you get it right away. You don't have to wait. But I wanted to get this one, but it's only available in the 7 1/8, and my head is way too big for that. It's sold out in my sizes. But if somebody's if somebody out there has a 7 1/8, this is a very cool hat. I also was thinking about this one.
Oh,
Is this the same design company?
Yeah, no, it's the company. The designers are individual. It's called the Clink Room. The Clink Room, and but these are actually these hats are just, it's a special link. Because I have like 10 other hats, so people that are part of that order hats get links when they put these hats up for sale. But yeah, there's this samurai, which is pretty dope.
Oh, I like that.
I like the cherry blossoms in there too. That's like a really nice touch.
That's a really good DC touch.
Yeah, that's a nice one. And then there's this one with this lion.
Oh, looks like he should be in like a L'Oreal commercial.
Yeah, he's like it's kind of like a very
like a Fabio lion.
Like a exactly, like a Fabio lion. I don't know.
Almost attracted to it.
Anyway,
Oh, God.
They're looking right in my eyes.
It's an attractive. It's an attractive lion, right? So
I like the turtle.
Yeah, the turtle hat is. I can't believe I missed my sizes. They didn't have any of my sizes. I can't wear a 7 1/8. It'll make my brain swell.
I can't even wear fitted caps.
Really?
Like, I haven't found one that can fit my head.
What size head you got? Your head doesn't look that big.
Yeah, apparently I had a big ass head, unless maybe I just wasn't like maybe the people at Lids just weren't doing me right. But I've just been sticking to snapbacks.
Is your snapback like on the last thing, just like hanging perilously? Is that how big your head is?
Pretty much, yeah. It's like on the last digit or two.
Last digit or two.
Yeah, sometimes I can squeeze the last 2 if I'm feeling a little self-conscious.
You might have had you might need it. Yes, when I've worn up to a size 8, and that's big head. So a lot of times they don't even have those sizes. They'll have up to like 7 3/4 and shit. So I feel your pain.
It's where that holds all the narcissism.
Trust me. Trust me. I know. I know from the narcissism. All right. So since now I have you guys on my show, and I'm gonna let you guys go because we've talked about podcasting, and I'm gonna be guesting on your guys' show soon. So but I will be doing more of these panels with the podcasters that weren't able to be here, both to promote their channels as well as to collaborate, communicate, and make different connections for people. See, like today, you guys in Row should hang out, and definitely they do. I was on his show a couple of times when they did discussions and reactions to Andor. So,
and we finally watched Andor. By the way,
We
that's
did.
where one of our first conversations with
did.
you came from. We finally sat and watched it.
how did you like it?
Loved it.
Can I do spoilers? You know, it's spoiler alert. The
Gotta
scenes
give it
when
like
he
a
was
pause of a spoiler alert.
That was a pause. Anyways, the scenes where
Right.
he was in the jail were just so phenomenally written. Like, you don't have like that much like scenery going on or anything. It felt very like 12 Angry Men like, and like using their dialogue and the little bit of room and space they had, and I loved every minute of that particular like spots of the show.
Absolutely. So, did you agree that it's like the Better Call Saul of?
I've never seen that, so I can't tell you.
I really did.
Reed
and
can.
I was hoping almost for like Lalo to just like pop up. There's like the just like right at the end. Get a little Lalo Salamanca action.
Little
in
Lalo
space.
Salamanca.
Yeah.
Got it. All right, guys. All right. Well, we're gonna be doing this again. So here's the thing. I have you guys as guests, so that means I got to do a bracket bit with you. That's kind of the thing.
Hey.
Oh yeah, I loved it.
But I'm gonna give you guys an option because I didn't create a bracket bit directly for you, but I have probably about a dozen saved bracket bits here that you guys can participate in, right? I think we're gonna do a short one here. I think we have time for two. I have a short one, which is best football movie of all time.
Oh, I think I can get it to number one already.
All right, well, that's not the point.
What are you going to pick? Remember the Titans, Reed?
All right, but Emily, I'm gonna let Emily pick the last one. So we have.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you a couple of options. Tell me if any of those strikes your fancy. Okay. We have Animation Nation, which is a bunch of animated stuff. That would have been more relevant, I think, if Zoo was here. We have Christmas Movie Massacre. We have 2023 Film Off. We have Wrestlers versus Aqua Teen Hunger Force characters.
Nope.
We have Best Rapper Actor.
Nope.
We have Cats versus Dogs. Netflix shows. This is Brave Characters Through History, I think. I don't know what that one was. We have Best Rapper Actor again. I already did this one. We have West Coast versus East Coast Rap Battle. Vampires versus Zombies, or this is a horror movie one. So, any of those speak to you?
I know you said animation for Zoo, but I do guessed on the animation thing, and that is
Okay.
my preferred method of watching a lot of things. So
Got it. All right, so we're gonna do two brackets with our friends here, but it is time for the. Where's my brand? Where's my thing? Where is it? I can't find it. Improvise Lou. Improvise Lou.
bracket bet.
Shit the bed. Well, howdy, folks. Come on in. Well, from the looks of them fancy britches and sassy little hairdos, y'all ain't from around here, are you? Or you wouldn't be fucking with me now, would you? No. See, the last guy that fucked with me ain't having a real good howdy-do today right now.
How you doing, folks? Sure hope you're subscribed to Fireside Chats with 2 a.m. Burrito and the Big Chief, of course. Big Chief Burrito. Stay up.
I pressed the wrong button.
I feel like that guy came from like some Spotsylvania County.
Terrifying.
All right, let's try this again.
All right, boys and girls, you know what that sound means. It's time for bracket bid. Bracket bid. Bracket bid. Woo, 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 woo. Bracket bid. Bracket bid. Woo, 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 woo.
Fireside Chats.
it is time for that bracketiest of bracket bits. We have two of them. We're going to go rapid fire. We're going to start with Animation Nation. Emily will be the point person here, and she can ask for her friends. Or we got three of you, so we can do mass voting here. Animation Nation. Spirited Away or The Little Prince. These are animated movies, some of them the best of all time, and you can use whatever methodology. Since this is your first time, Emily, you can say which one is your favorite, which one means the most to you, which one you hate the most, whatever it is. We just ask that you keep the same methodology throughout the whole bracket. Are you ready?
Yeah, Studio Ghibli's lit to Spirited Away.
All right. Fantastic Mr. Fox or South Park, bigger, longer, uncut?
Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Aladdin or Inside Out?
Aladdin, because he was one of my Disney Prince crushes.
All right. There we go. Up.
Oh.
Well,
damn. You don't need anything else.
Did you see the meme this week about he's starting to date too soon because there's a little short about him getting ready for a date?
Oh.
Too soon, guy. Too soon.
I didn't see
Come on,
that.
Carl.
Come on, Carl. Too soon. You can't find somebody better than your wife. Come on, man. Don't even try. All right. My Neighbor Totoro or Frozen?
Again, Studio Ghibli. So, My Neighbor.
The Lion King or Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Lion King for the culture.
The Lego Movie.
I think you just assaulted the culture.
I did. I deeply apologize.
Oh,
It's like that. There's that clip of the Navy people singing it. that was a podcast equivalent of that clip. All right, The Lion King for various reasons. The Lego Movie or Coco?
For my abuelito Coco.
For the culture.
For the
That
culture.
one is for the culture, and that
There you
is
go.
not assaulting the culture. So
For the cultura. There you go. Dumbo or Shrek?
Shrek.
All right.
Dumbo's so racist.
Wall-E or Encanto?
Encanto for the culture.
The Iron Giant or Minions?
I haven't seen Minions, so Iron Giant.
All right. The
Not for
Incredibles
the
or
Minions culture. Okay.
Not for the Minions culture.
I feel attacked.
The Incredibles or Ratatouille?
Ratatouille. Because
Ooh.
Reed reminds me
I'm
of Remy.
surprised. Oh.
Ooh.
Is it
Not
the
in a
face?
bad way.
The face. It's the face.
You
100%.
cook.
Ah. And you're controlled by a tiny rat. Hey, there you go.
Exactly.
A Little Mermaid or Fantasia?
Fantasia.
Oh, boo.
Dude,
Toy
screw
Story.
you. She does not need to be saved by some damn prince. Blue eyes my ass.
Toy Story or Spider-Man Multiverse?
Spider-Verse.
Spider-Verse. It's the Spider-Verse. Bambi or Akira?
Mm.
Ooh, that one's harder. Bambi.
Bambi. Beavis and Butthead or I think it's Do America or Snow White?
Beavis and Butthead, probably, because Snow White's really creepy.
The Mitchells versus the Machines or Nightmare Before Christmas?
Mitchell's versus the Machines. Night Before Christmas is trash, and y'all can quote me on that shit.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Hot take. All right, Beavis or the Mitchells?
Mitchell's.
All right, we got Spider-Verse or Bambi?
Spider-Verse.
Fantasia or Ratatouille?
Ratatouille.
Encanto or The Iron Giant?
Encanto.
Shrek or Coco?
Coco. That one hurts.
Wow.
Damn.
No way.
Yeah.
My Neighbor or The Lion King?
My Neighbor.
Aladdin or Up?
Up.
Oh, poor Zoo.
Spirited Away or Mr. Fox?
Spirited Away. What you talking about? Aladdin is Indian, not Pakistani. Aladdin definitely probably would have been part of like the whole racist deal with Pakistan. So.
Well, teach their own.
Spirited Away or Up?
Up.
My Neighbor Totoro or Coco?
Coco.
Encanto or Ratatouille?
Ratatouille.
Spider-Man or The Mitchells?
Fuck. Oh God.
I hear you talk about Spider-Verse way more than I ever hear you talk about the Mitchells.
I know, but the Mitchells was genius too. Both in terms of the animation and storyline that they created.
This is where I remind everybody that Reckon-Bit's created to cause maximum pain.
It does. It really does. I guess Spider-Verse.
All right, Spider-Verse or Ratatouille.
Spider-Verse easily for that one. That one's
All right.
easy.
Upper Coco. Cuteness or the culture?
Reed, shut up. Because these are both my two favorite animated movies of all time.
And coincidentally, old people die in both movies, so you're fine. Just pick one.
You did say Up reminds you of us.
It does. But Coco reminds me of my abuelito.
Tough choices.
So I guess it comes down to who do you love more?
Wow! Why would you say that to me?
Maximum pain.
Oh no, I hate this now. That should be the final one.
It's not. This is the final
know.
four.
Sorry.
This is
I'm
the
aware,
great
Reed.
matchup. This is where you get.
Now just keep in mind the pain this is causing. This wasn't even specifically geared towards you. This was a generic bracket pick.
Right.
Nah,
You go to
this
the
was
final
geared
four
towards me.
last year. This is UNC versus Duke right here, and then you got like fucking Loyola Chicago over there against whoever won. I don't remember March Madness.
That's how it happens.
Yeah. But which one's Duke?
Probably Coco.
Coco?
Oh, sorry, Reed.
I might as well just log off.
All right, that leaves us our final two.
Coco.
Emily from Emily asks, "What if?" says Coco beats Spider-Verse.
Wow.
Yeah, that's an interesting.
Honestly, Coco and Up for me are really that final. But I love Spider-Verse too. They're like some of my top three. But you didn't have Princess Mononoke in there. If you did, I would have been dead.
Okay, yeah, that's usually what I ask people. What's the biggest omission? Is that the biggest one?
Princess Mononoke would definitely be a big one for me personally. I would have to think on it in terms of animated films because there's a lot of them, and you don't even have like any kind of like rated R in there either. Because there's a good like more rated R animated.
This is my bracket bit. I create the bracket, you solve it. So
I solved it.
All right, yeah, you solved it. You did it. It caused pain. It was an interesting experiment for me because it wasn't specifically crafted for you. So I like it.
I would be curious to hear Zoo on that one now too.
Yeah,
and see the competition there.
We'll save it. I mean,
Mitchell's probably would have made it really far for him. He loves Mitchell's.
Yeah,
but he also loves Spider-Verse. So.
Well, you can catch the lot
and Studio Ghibli. Those Studio Ghibli movies would have made it far with him.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's get this last one in for you guys here. All right, here's my transitions. All right, this one's for Reed and Scott, and Emily can be the tiebreaker here. All right.
Oh, perfect.
All right. But the best football movies of all time, I did this one with when I had Nick Mangold from the Jets. We did this one. So this is a rehash from that episode. So let's get after it. Rudy or Invincible?
Ooh. One's about a Philadelphia Eagle and the other one is overrated.
Both are about people
ouch.
Both are about people who can't read.
Coming with the hot take.
My vote goes to Rudy on this one.
Yeah, I'd have to go Rudy. It's the one I've seen the most between the two.
Who can't read? Is it Mark Wahlberg or the character? Because I would.
Hold on a second. Hold on. I like that SNL. Hey, what's up? I'm Mark Wahlberg.
Hey, say hi to your mother for me.
Say hi to your mother for me.
Or in the Happening. I just need a minute to think.
What? No.
The trees are killing us.
It's one of our favorite things to do of how Mark Wahlberg is supposed to be a born and raised Texan in the Transformers movies, and then ends up talking about all these fucking robot cars. All these robot cars are all around
All
you.
these robot cars.
All these robot cars. Optimus, what are you doing?
All right, We Are Marshall or the program.
I'd go We Are Marshall, but I'm also college football biased.
Yeah, I'm going We Are Marshall, but I'm not familiar with the program, actually.
You haven't seen the program?
I've never seen the program.
I was about to say, you guys might. The program was like the OG. It was like kind of the Al Pacino one.
Wasn't that the James Caan movie that came out like in the 90s?
It was in the 90s, and people were getting killed because these football players were lying in the middle of the road. They were lying on the strips and stuff, and they were getting run over by cars, doing the same thing that they saw in the movie. It was a whole thing. But yeah, the program is good. It's a good football movie too.
That's still safer than playing football.
It's still yeah. It was basically like almost like Any Given Sunday. Any Given Sunday or The Replacements.
Ooh, I think this is where me and Reed are going to differ. I'd go Replacements.
I was actually going to go Replacements too.
Oh wow!
I go Replacements. We're look at us. We're lockstep on this.
Wow.
This one's tough.
The Water Boy or Brian's song.
Damn, so different. Because Waterboy is fucking hilarious, and Brian's song is like one of the first.
Waterboy.
Brian's song is one of the first movies that made me like cry.
High quality H2O.
Some high quality H2O.
I love you, Brian Piccolo.
Mr. Insano.
Hey, another James
Captain
Caan movie. That's kind
Insano.
of interesting how he's on here twice on the board.
That's true. Foosball is the devil. I'm gonna go Waterboy.
I will go Waterboy.
Yeah.
All right, Waterboy. Moving on. The Longest Yard or The Blind Side.
Which one?
Usually when there's more than one, I'll have them play as a tag team.
I go Longest Yard just because I try to avoid like the white savior movies.
Wow, that's why you.
Well, yeah, I'm
Brian
sorry.
Song,
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, because he lived. Wait, who lived? No, he died. So what are we going on?
Are you guys
alert.
agreeing on this
True
one,
story.
Scott? You going?
No, I'm going Longest Yard. No, I'm going Longest Yard.
Got it. All right, Little Giants or Remember the Titans.
Oh, easy, Little Giants.
Whoa, I'm going Remember the Titans.
Remember the Titans.
No way.
Tiebreaker, Emily. All right.
Oh,
the Titans.
boo.
All right, we got Necessary Roughness. Watch Necessary Roughness too, man. Sinbad's in it. Or Varsity Blues.
I don't want your life.
I'm going Necessary Roughness.
Yeah, I'll go with that one.
I know what Reed's picking for that last one.
Draft Day or Friday Night Lights.
I'm gonna shock Emily here, and I'm going Draft Day because I don't.
What?
I don't care for Friday Night Lights the movie. I love the show a lot more than the movie. I don't really like the movie too much, even though I like Billy Bob Thornton. But Coach Taylor's the only Friday Night Lights coach for me. Draft Day is entertaining in just how much like NFL licensing they got. Like that feels like the closest to like an NFL movie that you could possibly get.
Right, and it's like I only discovered it because it randomly was on some channel, like on TV. I didn't even know it was like I don't know if it got a theatrical release or anything like that. I just watched it on TV one day. But for Chadwick Boseman, I'm going to go with Draft Day.
Exactly.
Draft Day is like the worst movie that I enjoyed. It's probably one of the
Oh, absolutely.
It's a horrible horror movie that I enjoyed watching. But I just love sports movies, and I love like it's sort of a third cousin of what's this movie that I've been watching over Moneyball. It's kind of a little like it's a little
really good.
It's a little it's like a ugly stepsister of Moneyball. You know, kind of
a straight to DVD Moneyball.
Yeah.
Produced by the NFL.
A homeless
Great
man's
value Moneyball.
A homeless man's Moneyball. Yeah. All right. Draft Day or Necessary Roughness.
I'm gonna keep Draft Day going.
I'm going Draft Day too.
I'm gonna keep moving them.
It's gonna fuck around and win.
The Longest Yard as a tag team or Remember the Titans. Sorry.
I'm still gonna go Longest Yard.
He's
Strong
doing
side.
He's doing this out
Left
of spite.
side.
Remember the Titans.
Remember the Titans.
I've just seen that movie so many goddamn
I
times.
love that
just
movie
Because
hate
it's
it.
so good. That's why.
No,
It's
it's just
It's the
amazing.
it's the Frozen of football movies.
And
God.
ask me how I feel about Frozen.
Well, we're not a dad of 2 little girls, so
Mama said crocodile hungry because he ornery because he ornery.
Mama's wrong again.
All right, we got the Water Boy or the replacements.
Oh, Waterboy.
Waterboy.
Rudy or We Are Marshall.
Ooh.
I'm going Rudy.
See, I would go We Are Marshall because Rudy was another one that was constantly played in the house, and I just hate watching it now.
Emily?
for We Are Marshall, probably.
That's fair. I can't be mad at it.
Matthew McConaughey?
All right.
All right, we got We Are Marshall or the Water Boy.
Oh, it's no contest.
Waterboy.
Oh yeah.
Waterboy.
And remember the Titans are draft day.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now for the meme, I gotta go with draft day.
I'm going. Remember the Titans.
Remember the Titans.
Now this is harder than I thought.
Right?
Now,
Yeah.
not only is this a football movie, but it's one of the best comedies, and Adam Sandler. And then you got Denzel and one of the best football movies, another really great emotional movie.
And it's about our
Based
home
on a true
state,
story.
Virginia.
Based on a true story.
And it's based in Virginia, where we live.
Wait,
That's
Waterboy's
where
not true?
I mean, who knows? We don't know about these backwoods in Louisiana. I'm sure there's a water boy playing somewhere. It's peak Sandler too.
Yeah,
See,
but-
when I look at both of these, I have to figure out if I was watching TV and either one of these came up, which would I be more inclined to be like, nah, I'll watch something else. I probably would pass on Remember the Titans, but if I came across Waterboy, I probably would sit and watch it.
Yeah, that's usually what I tell people if they're having a trouble. I say, well, if you had to watch one right now,
I'd watch Waterboy.
See, I'm the opposite. Anytime Remember the Titans is on, I will leave it on.
So the
Yeah.
way I'm looking at this is I will sit and watch either of these movies, like when they're coming
Mhm.
on, like one of those VH1. I'm thinking about like those VH1 Sundays or Saturday afternoons where they're just playing movies, and both of these would be one. But if I have to go off of football movies, which is what this is, Remember the Titans to me
Don't
is the
you
ultimate
dare.
football movie. It's a true story, and I'm going with Coach Boone here. I'm going with our neighbors up the street. That's right. Remember the Titans, baby.
Strong side.
Remember the Titans. And Scott went for the Water Boy. So,
Remember the Titans. I already said that.
remember the Titans.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
threw. Yeah, there we go.
Man.
We just said fuck Scott. This whole bracket.
Welcome to my
Fuck
life.
Scott.
You had a proxy vote there with you. You're good. You did.
I know. Yeah,
Man.
incels.
All right. Two
I have,
legitimate brackets.
I have no problem throwing Reed under the bus at any point in time, but Remember the Titans, my favorite football movie.
It's a good movie. I mean, it's
Man, where was The Rock? That's what I wanted to see up there.
Well, what was the biggest omission? Which one?
Oh yeah,
Gridiron Gang.
I was gonna say you. So you went Gridiron Gang. I was going the other Rock movie that I'm trying to think. The one about him and the little girl.
Oh,
the Tooth Fairy one.
The Tooth Fairy.
No, not. It wasn't.
Game Plan.
Game Plan. The Game Plan.
Oh, I know. The Tooth Fairy one was a hockey movie for The Rock.
Right.
Game
that was
Plan.
a hockey movie, huh? Yeah, Game Plan. That's my big one.
Would you
And then
consider Jerry
the new
Maguire
movie,
being
Safety.
Ooh.
Concussion's a football movie.
Concussion is so good.
Tell the
So
truth.
good.
It is the truth. What did you? Which one did you just say, Scott? Because I think that's a
Jerry
good
Maguire.
Jerry Maguire. I
Is there
think
a Jerry
is a strong
Maguire
omission.
movie, football movie?
Is Radio a football movie?
Oh, I forgot about Radio.
Ooh.
Are we still allowed to watch Radio? I feel like I don't see that. I don't see that on ever anymore. I feel like that one got like
Coach
quietly
Jones.
canceled.
I think it's on Disney Plus because I thought it was a Disney movie.
Well, I mean, Disney also had like Song of the South on Disney Plus there too. So we have to.
That's true.
So it's important for cultural context. That's what they're saying.
Forrest Gump played
What about
football.
like, well, Bend It Like Beckham?
No.
That's a football movie.
There you go.
That's him.
Well,
That's
Hey.
him. If you give her the bracket in color football movies.
Immediately to number one.
Top football movies of all time. What is that one with
Football.
Sylvester Stallone where he escapes the Nazis? Right, this one.
I can't remember the name of that one.
I don't remember.
The
It was
game
like
of Game of Their Lives or something like that.
Yeah, I think so. It's like an early 80s soccer movie.
Depending on what country you're talking about as well, the South African rugby team movie Invincible, that is also sort of considered football, especially if you're talking like in Australia.
Oh, that's interesting. It has been a pleasure to check in with the 323. Probably do this again tomorrow on a different channel.
That's true. Yes, probably a couple more times. We got quite a lot to get into over the next week.
Cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff happening, Super Bowl and whatnot. I surprised myself in picking both games correctly this week. I think I'm going to go Chiefs for the Super Bowl, but
I'm going Eagles.
I think I'm going Chiefs.
I like that you say you think though, so you're leaving the mystery.
Leaving
Just
the
for
mystery.
the shows, for the episodes. Yeah, just a little
Thanks for
bit.
stopping by. Next time we'll have you on Latin Jukebox. I know you're busy up there. We had somebody from the East Coast. We had Chicago. We had Latin Jukebox checking in from Ottawa, I believe, somewhere in Canada.
Oh wow!
So
Canada.
All you people out there, if you're dirty minds or anything, I feel like a good game tomorrow. We'll have games, and it's either going to be, is it cake or ass, or is it going to be sports or porn? We're going to have something dirty going on.
Is it cake or caken?
Exactly.
Ooh, I'm ready.
my suggestion is still dog toy or sex toy.
That's a damn good one.
Ooh,
That's
It really is.
Yeah. There's some cool yeah. I did that one a while back. Dog toy or sex toy. You can play that at Petco when you're walking around. And then they're like, I would use that. I would say, as long as the dog hadn't gotten to it first. All right, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Thank you. This will be on Fireside Chats. You can find Fireside Chats anywhere you get your podcasts. And then you can go to 2amburrito.com to find everything else you know about it. You can follow these guys at the 323 Network. Just look for Reed Murphy at 323 Reed on Twitter, and you can link to their podcast. And you can hear me on there as well because I'm a content contributor. So for the 2AM Burrito podcast, myself, Big Chief Burrito, and the whole 323 crew, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys back here in 30 seconds after this little goodbye thing says, all right? So stick around for a minute, guys. But everybody else, peace out.
Farewell.